out a screenshot, so hoping for the best. All right. We don't have
and that light's crooked. I don't know if that's affecting things or not.
No.
Okay, and these are even. I think this one's hitting behind, not on.
Look then.
All right, very good. So we do have TikTok live already?
Yeah.
All right. So for those of you tuning in through TikTok, if you could please give us a thumbs up that we have audio and a visual. Before we go ahead and get started with tonight's class, I want to make sure we're in good shape here. Also, yeah, I think this needs to be turned more, toward me. Okay, that's probably good enough. And you said even though this is crooked, it's not going to affect things?
Right.
Okay. And for those of you tuning in through YouTube, and can you get me on that screen? Or is that not an option for me?
That screen?
I won't have a YouTube screen. I'll only have this. Ah, there we go. Thank you. Okay, and so those of you tuning in through YouTube, if you could also please give me a thumbs up that we have good audio and visual. I still don't see it. I actually see something else, but not the YouTube.
Because it's not on YouTube with
Comment
StreamMate.
section.
This is going to come up there.
Okay. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, it's over
Is
here.
my YouTube going to be on here?
Yes.
So then no.
No, your YouTube's going to be on there.
Right.
Right.
Not for me, though.
No,
Okay.
For you. You're going to see it. It's just no one's posted yet. See?
Oh, I see what's going on. Okay. Sorry, guys. Me and technology not happening ever. Do we have a thumbs up? Okay. So welcome, Carrie. Welcome, guys, on TikTok. I do want to talk about a couple things while we let some people tune in here. So I want to invite you to check out my Ask Ivy show. Every Monday night, I do, what is it? Is it 8 p.m. on TikTok? Is that right?
TikTok, yep.
Okay, so 8 p.m. Eastern on TikTok. I take your personal questions. And at 8:30 on YouTube, Ask Ivy starts all over again. So if you have questions about your love life, your work, you have deceased loved ones you would like to hear from, you're going to want to talk for 200,000 followers. I can't even wrap my head around it. You guys have been amazing. And I posted a fun psychic game up today with my thank you video from yesterday. So check it out. Test out your psychic exercise. And I want to invite you guys to check out my 200,000 follower special TikTok episode. That's going to be on the 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I'll be taking your questions about spiritual development, anything paranormal, anything curious. If you guys have questions about me, you can ask those. But also I want your suggestions and requests for upcoming videos. So join me there. All right, let's see. What do we have here? But it's video download if you don't jump in with another group, okay? So May 17th, if you want to start with the online full training, registration opens April 26th. But if you want to get on the list for the early bird first dibs at registration, because this is limited seating and we do fill, you could do that at psychicmediumshipcourse.com. Paul, can you put that in the comments for them?
It'll be in the description too.
Okay, so welcome, Deborah, Stina, Katrina, Sonia, Vanessa. Good to see everybody. And we're good on audio and visual?
Yep.
All right, wonderful. So I am going to ask everybody here on YouTube to give this video a thumbs up. For those of you that are on TikTok that would like to see my other mini classes, I put up 1 to 2 per week. You can go over to YouTube at Ask Ivy. If you guys want to donate, it's very much appreciated. You can hit that donation button. And if you want to become a member for behind the scenes extras, extra curriculum, direct spirit messages throughout the month, and your monthly horoscopes, you can hit the join button here on YouTube. All right. So welcome everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arawak, and I own a school called the Ivy League Psychic Academy, where I train people internationally, online, in everything. ranging from psychic mediumship development to tarot, astrology, numerology, Reiki, paranormal training. We work with children as well as adults, so we hope to see you there. This is one of the free mini classes I've been putting out for the quarantine series. I've been doing 1 to 2 free mini classes per week since the pandemic hit. To check out the full list here on YouTube at Ask Ivy, hit the playlist button and you'll see all the mini classes. Today, we are talking about soulmates versus twin flames, myth versus truth. What is going on with all of this? So I want to invite you guys to also post your questions or comments throughout the curriculum. Paul, my adorable producer, how are you, Paulie?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Paul will be taking your questions throughout if they fit with the curriculum. If not, we put them all the way to the end, and I do try to get to everybody. Okay, so any questions about your relationship, dynamics, curiosities you have about this topic. So the first thing that I want to say about this is that twin flames are a complete myth. It is something that a lot of people have made a lot of money off of, including Hallmark. So we want to think of twin flames as being unrealistic and really toxic for a couple key reasons that I want to get out of the way, straight out of the gate. First of all, the idea that you're not whole as yourself is problematic. It reminds me of perpetuating the patriarchy and these fairy tale concepts in Disney that someone's coming to rescue us, someone's coming to make us whole. We're missing this person, and that when we come together with this person, we become an actual human being with a spirit and a soul that makes sense and is acknowledged by the universe and can somehow go on a higher level. None of that happens. None of that is true. And none of that is necessary. So think of all the other religious systems, political systems that we have that perpetuate these same type of programming and toxic ideas about oneself not being a whole character. The other thing is with the twin flame concept is that there is a ton of dichotomy. There is such a bipolar idea of what it means. So for many, many years, people would talk about twin flames as being this romantic fairy tale kind of a connection. Could we leave that? Thank you. And we would believe that when we met this person, it felt incredible. It felt like we finally had support, like we finally understood why every other relationship that didn't work out, it made sense. There were synchronicities and everything connected. You finally have this purpose. This person is going to be there for you. This is the one. And then we have this polar opposite understanding that came out in more recent years, that twin flames are the biggest test you will ever have in your life. It tries you like no other relationship ever will. And it's incredibly difficult. It can actually wipe you out, just take you out in life and just basically kill you. It could turn you off from future relationships. And they almost make it out like it's some kind of narcissistic attack on your person and spiritually even. So why do we have such differences? Because none of it's true. None of it is a twin flame connection. That doesn't exist. What they're talking about is a karmic contract. So I have a class up on the website called Karma, Contracts, and Past Lives that you guys might want to check out. We have another one that goes hand in hand with that called Relationships, Boundaries, and Cord Cutting. So when we talk about a karmic contract, which is actually what a lot of people think a twin flame is, we're talking about a debt, karmic debt being owed. That's going to involve severe lessons, usually because people are unwilling. It's going to involve a lot of struggle and interference. It's not easy. It's not lovely. It doesn't feel good, but it is addictive because with a karmic contract, we have something called cords. We only see cords again when we talk about soulmate connections. So whether you have a soulmate contract, which I'll get to in a minute, or you have a karmic contract with someone, you're going to have an energetic bond through these cords that permits the person you're in contract with to pull and tug at you all the time. That means that voluntarily and involuntarily, they will come into your thoughts, come into your energy field, come into your dreams. It's almost like they're able to sort of haunt you and travel into your world and be present, whether you want them there or not. And it requires a great deal of mindfulness from you so that you can control whether or not that's happening. Now, what happens in a karmic contract often is that one person, whoever owes maybe the dues or whatever the lessons are that need to be learned, whatever the work is that needs to be done, we typically see that one person doesn't want to do it. Sometimes we even see that both people don't want to do it. And this is where things become inflamed, and the nature of the relationship, if it didn't already feel kind of odd, could get really, really tense. It would look very similar to trauma attachment. Okay, a lot of people talk about twin flames, and I'm like, that's a trauma bond. That is not a twin flame connection. So they're kind of similar in the way that they feel, but they're not identical in the contract itself. So with these cords, even if you separate from this person, no matter how much time, no matter how much space there is, they tend to be present in your life. Again, not just in your dreams, not just in your thoughts, but even outside of you. So people you cross paths with may have that person's name, may look just like them, things associated, symbols associated with this person, ideas may keep popping up, synchronicities. So a lot of people think they're supposed to interact with this person. They're supposed to go back. They're supposed to reach out for some reason or stay. And that is most certainly not the case. Can we close this door, please? Thank you. All right. So what is a twin flame? My belief system, that's a karmic contract. Here's the other confusion with twin flames. We do have very real soulmate connections with people. Those are also work contracts, but they're far more positive, usually, than a karmic contract. They do come with the cords. They are addictive. The other person can tug and pull at you voluntarily and involuntarily. If you try to break up, if this was a romantic soulmate connection, you may have a drop in body temperature, flu-like symptoms. You may feel as though you're developing some kind of mental illness. It's very much like coming off of a drug. It's addictive because the cords are still intact. So what we often see when people refer to twin flames, I found my twin flame, it's just a soulmate connection that you picked. You're going to get approximately 5 to 6 different soulmates crossing your path over the course of your entire life contract. And some people have fewer. Some people only have like 3, but they're going to cross your path. And what you're going to want to do is to pick the soulmate connection that functions best in the day to day. All the other ones are going to feel really intense, really passionate, really even obsessive. Like you compare everybody back to this person. You can't get away from them no matter how much time passes, but it just doesn't work. It's super dysfunctional. Often with soulmates, we have this problem where one person is without a growth mentality. And we could look at any relationship in life and say, the truth is we need 2 parties with growth mentalities in order for a relationship to grow. Parent to child, siblings, friends, lovers, it really doesn't matter. It's always the same thing. If you have one person without a growth mentality, the one who grows is going to keep going forward. And often with soulmates, because of the cords, the attachment, the possession, the jealousy, the passion, they will actually try to hold you back if you are the one with the growth mentality. They try to hold you down. They wreak havoc on your life to keep you there with them if they refuse to do the inner work that they need to do. And it quickly goes sour. But a lot of people don't leave. Right, so we have to be really careful that if we met a narcissist, sociopath, if we got entangled with someone who was super destructive on our life, we don't, hang on and feel like, yes, but it was so intense. That was a soulmate connection. Not necessarily. That could have been a karmic contract. That could have just been some nut job. And you're highly empathic, empaths, especially at the 3rd and the 4th level. See my class, empathic awareness. Paul, put that in the comments. Research shows we attract narcissists and sociopaths more than any other group of people. So don't assume that just because it was there, that feeling was there, that passion was there, that inability to shake this person, no matter how hard you try and how many boundaries you set up, that doesn't mean that's what it was. Okay, so again, you get soulmate options, but you want to pick the one that is going to work best for you in the day to day. And that can mean that it doesn't feel as passionate as some of the other soulmate connections, but it doesn't make it any less so. The other thing we really want to look for if we're going to pick a soulmate, so you can call that the one, you can call that your twin flame, you can call it whatever you want. But if you're going to pick this person, you may want to get an astrology reading. You could put Christina's information in there for them, please. Christina Del Rey, our astrologer here at the Ivy League Psychic Academy. She's amazing. Every chart I do matches every chart she does, even though I know nothing about astrology and she's not doing mediumship. It's pretty interesting. But she does Western astrology. And when you look at a synergy chart with you and someone else, and I would not date people without this, I would at least not commit to being exclusive in a relationship with anyone until you get something like this done. A synergy chart will show who you guys have been and where you might be going. Now, one of the things with a karmic contract, right? No twin flame, but a karmic contract and a soulmate contract, one of the things we see is past life history. So the minute you meet someone like this, you feel comfortable, you have a warped sense of time, the relationship may move and develop differently, a lot faster than any other kind of relationship. You feel like, oh my God, where have you been? I have known you forever. I missed you. And that's a sign that if you were to look at the astrology, at your stars and planets, that you have south node connection, meaning past life history. Christina's so good, she could even tell you what you did. So you may have had flashbacks of it your whole life, or when you meet this soulmate, you start to have flashbacks of who you guys were in previous lives and what you did together. You would also notice by the nature of the connection how well you work together in certain situations. It's like butter, you just flow. Peanut butter and jelly. You just know how to do this thing over again. She would also be able to tell you, or if you get a synergy chart done anywhere, whether or not you have north node connection. So I think that's really important as a reader for my clients, because lovely as some of these relationships can be, as important and significant as they may be, if they don't have that north node, I don't see what the point is in continuing. North node signifies that you guys have work to do together in this life, are building toward the future and even future lives. Or we could say on the other side, you're going to be doing more work into the future. So that's just a little side note on how you could sort of prove, okay, if you believe in astrology, and you should, you can even do synergy charts with numerology, okay? Put in Danny Johnson, our numerologist, information in the comments, please, Paul. So Danny Johnson is our numerologist here at the Academy. You can even do synergy charts to check out your number patterns. So here's an interesting little factoid. When you meet a soul mate, and if you meet someone and you have a karmic contract, this can happen there too. You would notice weird number patterns following both of you. And you may even see synchronicities in like the birth dates, the death dates, any important numbers for you in your life, even like your lucky number, your addresses, okay, license plate numbers. I mean, it's literally everywhere. So we see that too being a huge indicator. It's the universe's way of being like, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. A lot of bonds. You may also notice odd things like their name is the same as a lot of like your family members' names, or, you know, where they worked is somewhere you worked, or like you guys never met, but you crossed paths repeatedly, or like 10 years ago, you lived in New York City for a year and a half. And at that same identical time, this person lived in New York City for a year and a half, and you were like 3 blocks apart, just weird stuff like that. Okay. Again, it can happen with both due to the cords. Why does this happen? This happens because the truth behind these dynamic relationships is not that it's there for your entertainment or for you to feel good about yourself, or for you to feel really passionately in love. It's because you have a work contract, which involves lessons, it involves growth, and it often involves a lot of difficulty in leveling up that can only be achieved with this person's assistance, or in the case of a karmic contract, their push. They're often a great example of what you don't want, what you don't ever want to revisit, how not to do it. Whereas a soulmate is helpful to you, okay? Building together. So one of the huge misunderstandings I see with my clients, with my students, even with my own self throughout my life, sadly, and this does a lot of damage, is that people don't understand the nature of that contract. They think that they want something passionate. They want that soulmate. They want that twin flame. But anything that feels intense, they mistake for being good. And when things go sour, they don't understand that lessons and growth and work are always at the core of these types of relationships. And so we sometimes undermine these relationships as well. We say, well, that's horrible. I got to get rid of that. I don't want to deal with it anymore. We stop dating altogether. And you have to understand that there's value in everything, in all of these relationships. So through alchemy, you need to convert the negativity into positivity. What did I learn? How did I grow? How does this make me more powerful? How can I help others with this going forward? Now, as you level up, you become more and more ready for the one, okay? Another myth, there is no the one because there is no twin flame. It's not a thing. It's up to your free will to pick one of these. That's all. Okay, if you guys are confused as to whether or not you have a toxic relationship pattern, or you've been waiting a long time and you just don't seem to really be jiving with anyone who comes into your life, you may want to check out a class I have up on the website called Reaching the One. Paul, could you put that in the comments for them? Now, the other destructive misunderstanding that people have about these dynamic relationships is that they are often on a deadline, which means the contract will expire and therefore the relationship will sour. Or you may find that it's time to go 2 separate ways and you're unwilling to do it because you overinvested. And we have to remember that that's a societal construct, that's a human construct, that we are to find that mate and stay there forever, or we are to make a best friend in the 2nd grade and have it until we're 98, or that because I was born to this family, this is blood. We got to get over it. Okay. There is nothing in the universal law that shows in any way, shape, or form that this stuff is true. The energy never lies. Your intuition never lies. When it's over, it's over. I put up a TikTok video, and it's here on my shorts on YouTube, about when a relationship contract has ended. I think I did that last week. You guys may want to check that out. You're not getting along anymore. There's no more teamwork. Maybe you're competing a lot. You may only be there because there's a lot of guilt. Maybe you're staying for the kids, you're staying because you guys committed to work together on something, but without that guilt, without that hold, you would not be there. You may resent this person talking to you or touching you. Heaven forbid they should try to be around you. You need a lot more personal space from them. It just isn't the same. Again, it doesn't mean it didn't have purpose. It can just mean that the contract is up. And that's a brutal reality sometimes. So we need to be careful how much we invest, especially with those marriage contracts. You better make sure you have North Node connection, or you could even find yourself with the soulmate that expires. Okay, not good. Okay, I had some points I wanted to make, and I know we have some questions here, but let me just check on my notes again. Oh, thanks so much for the donations, guys. If you guys want to post your questions and comments, we'll be taking those now. All right. All right, so one of the things I kind of touched on this already, that too many people demand what a relationship is supposed to be. So they get into a relationship with the soulmate contract, and they have all these ideas already in their head. They're programmed to believe that every relationship is supposed to do this thing for them or elevate them in this way. And it's very common to see that the other person gets taken advantage of. That's a really sad, abusive approach to any relationship. There should be give and take. You should be looking at every relationship you enter into, not what can I get? Me, but also what do I give? How can we work together? And so a lot of soulmate bonds do end in a real toxic manner, going down in flames because somebody was taking, pecking at them like a vulture, just every day, especially with finances and pushing them into a certain line of work or trying to force them into having children and things like this, and not understanding that the bond was supposed to be about the other individual's growth and your growth. So we want to make sure, especially when we meet a soulmate, that we're nurturing that person and we're helping them achieve their dreams. You can't lock them in, to a career. You can't lock them into a relationship. You can't lock them down and expect them to also grow. Just also wanted to mention that a soulmate can be your dog, your cat, your sibling, your friend. It could be someone that you meet at work and you feel like you've only known this person maybe for 3 months, but you feel like you've known them your entire life or even lifetimes ago. You're closer to this person than you are your own family. That absolutely happens. So it could be anybody, but romantically, you will meet a couple of those also, okay, over your life contract. Book a life contract reading with me. You guys could do that anytime on the website where we look at things like that. Let's see. I wanted to talk about I think that's it. I think I got to everything. Okay. So yeah, I just talk about this so much, like it's just already there. Okay, so we did have a question coming in here from Crystal. So our members get to ask their questions and be added to the curriculum. Crystal said, how come neither term resonates with me at all? Okay, meaning I've never referred to any relationship with either word. I'm unaware of coming into a contract with anyone at any point. Is it because someone views love in a different way because your purpose in this life doesn't involve either, so it doesn't play a key factor in your growth or your future? I think I understand how that was worded. In the end, my interpretation of your question here is like, why am I not feeling any of this? Probably because you came to Earth with a worker's contract. Some people come to Earth, I look at your life contract, shows in your numerology, shows in your Vedic or Western astrology, that you came to Earth to be a light worker. Other people come, you came to Earth to be a healer. Other people come, you came to Earth to learn a lot of lessons. Other people, it's all about relationships. You came with a worker's contract, which means you could even have a lot of Capricorn in your chart. You may have a lot of Virgo or Gemini. Sag, it's work, growth. And you just don't find this stuff important. It's last on your priority list to get married, have the picket fence, have a bunch of kids, and find your soulmate. You literally don't care. So what happens there is that you would only notice when you meet members of your soul tribe, let's say, where there's a mutual work contract. Luckily for you, these are work contracts. That's exactly what it is. And that is the huge misinterpretation. So when you said that, like, is it because of how I look at it? Probably. All of society tends to look at this in a romantic way or a fun, adventurous way when they are actually work contracts. So it does suit you well. Yeah, you just have to change your perception on it. What do we have coming in here?
Okay, we have a lot of good questions.
Okay.
And thank you, Deb. Thank you, Carrie. Jalen, thank you for your donations. So great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We have a few from TikTok as well. So Katie on TikTok asks, how do you know if you have a karmic contract with someone?
Well, I think the easiest way is to tell if you have a karmic contract with somebody else is to look at the dynamics of the relationship. The relationship will either be really attractive and there's a sense of already knowing each other. That doesn't make it comfortable necessarily, but there's definitely a sense of knowing each other and you can't explain why, or it will be super repellent. And you feel like, look, I don't know what this person did to me, but I don't like them. I don't like your face. I don't like hearing your voice. I don't want you near me. It is very possible that some of the people who try, because one of the easy ways to fulfill a karmic contract is through romance. That's how they really get into every aspect of your life. You know, your bed, your emotions, your heart. I mean, everything. They infiltrate. So we have to guard ourselves in love. That's not a twin flame, okay? If it's the toxic end of a twin flame, you've got a karmic contract, not a soulmate connection. So when they are trying to get into your life in any capacity, they will often owe you something, and so will almost obsessively come after you. They may try to give you food and drinks and gifts, or they might be really nosy. They almost act like a stalker, and it could be subtle. You may be the only one who notices it, but sometimes this person just creeps you out. They seem to have an agenda. They seem to be hustling you. Your ears may ring, especially the right ear. Your right ear may ring a lot. You get a weird tinnitus or pressure whenever they're around, or they message you, or you think about them, or somebody talks about them. You might get a burning at the back of your neck up into your head. It may end up causing a headache. Your left eye might twitch a lot. These are all signs that this person did you dirty in a previous life and they owe you a karmic debt. So maybe they stole your cattle, or they burned down your hut, or who knows what, okay? Maybe there was some kind of fraud and they robbed you. Maybe it was the tax collector. But there's definitely something that needs to be addressed. And here's the important thing to remember. Even though they owe you, it doesn't necessarily mean they're paying up. They could just be a menace in your life yet again. So get on guard. Because, hey, you know, they're either going to pay or they're not. Now, here's the other thing. You are not required to fulfill this contract. If you're not the one who owes the debt, you are able to sign off on this contract and fulfill any tasks that you do have in that contract in other ways that the universe will support. Our relationships, boundaries, and cord cutting class teaches you how to cut those cords, sign off on that contract, and sign on to a new one. So you don't have to put up with it. Mm-hmm.
It's a good point here. We have one from Rachel who asks very similar how that ended is, I feel like my most recent relationship was karmic. How do I know if I have fulfilled this lesson in contract? Is it okay to end it now?
Well, that's a long story. You need to book a reading. I would have to sit and look at it, and we're not doing that for this for this class. That might be a good one for the Ask Ivy show, but even in 3 minutes or less, that could be tricky to get to. You need to start by asking your guides and your higher mind. So sit with your guides. I would give it about 15 to 20 minutes with a notepad and a pen and ask your protector guide and your relationship guide what the nature of this contract was with this person, if there was one. And is it over? Is there anything else that you need to do? They'll show you what you need to do. They'll show you what lessons you were supposed to take from it, how to use it going forward. And you may not even need to sign off on it. It may be done. We have to remember that we are always empowered to do so if we need to. The universe supports you in your self-respect and your self-care above everything else. And anyone who guilts you and tells you from the light working community that it is a shameful act to cut a cord doesn't know how to care for themselves. Okay. And they're taking others down with them. You can absolutely cut it if you need to. But if it's fulfilled, you probably don't even need to. If you are ready to move on, you can probably just do that. The trick is no contact. You can't backpedal. And remember, they will haunt you with that cord. In your dreams, they will pull and tug at you. They're not going to go away easily. Even if they don't want to pay that debt, they will not go away easily. What a waste of time, huh? It's like swatting a fly. You just got to be like, I'm going to just cut that thing. I'm going to cut that thing. Okay. It's not your problem. It never was. They shouldn't have done you wrong in the first place. And if you feel obsessive over someone else, you may owe them. You're not perfect, you know? So this goes both ways. We all have karmic debts somewhere.
We have one from JD Kenson on TikTok. Do we have to have past life history to be happy and successful?
In life?
In relationships.
In a relationship, do we have? No, not at all. No, not at all. We see synchronicities where you may get along great with people. A lot of my clients confuse this for soulmate connection, where your astrology is just really, really great. Like you're just, maybe your sun sign really matches up great with their rising sign, or, you know, your moon signs are all about romance and friendships and what's in your heart and what makes you feel like you're really being loved. And so maybe your moon signs match up great. Maybe your numerology really matches a lot. You know, if you find other people that are on your life path number, you know, then you guys have the same purpose. You basically act the same. You think the same. You can work well together. There are a million reasons that relationships may work. Most people just kind of, you know, assume that those fall into one of these categories. And these are not the most common categories to see. These will be the most dynamic relationships you have in your life, not always in a good way.
This one is from Bernadette.
Okay.
It says, so when you meet a stranger and then within a few minutes you feel a real connection, like you feel instantly comfortable and you recognize them, is that a soulmate contract?
Well, I usually try to figure out if I should run and this is going to be bad, and that's why it's comfortable and familiar because I already know them, or if this is something that could potentially be really positive and it has with it opportunity for both of us to level up in our lives and be together and enjoy it. And that would be that distinguishing factor between a karmic contract and a soulmate contract, because remember, they both have past life history. So you would feel that with either one potentially. But you know, you don't necessarily want to assume it's good. We assume that things that are dynamic are good. And you're going to have to look at it far more deeply than that. One of the tricks I teach my students to do is to pay attention anytime they meet someone new, that they pull back and they scan the person's energy and they allow that person's energy to tell the story of who you guys were together, what you're meant to do now, and what the future will look like. And you may want to write that down. That is what is a first impression. And remember, a first impression never lies. I don't care how long it takes. That, whatever you saw when you first met them in the first, what do they say, 7 minutes or so? I say 17 seconds. You can get all this information pretty clearly. It will play out eventually. So you can't be double-minded, but you have to pull back and ask those questions of their energy.
Okay. We have one on TikTok again from Auntie M.
Okay.
If your twin flame passes away, will there be another?
There is no such thing as a twin flame. So, yup, absolutely. There are only soulmates, and you pick one. And that doesn't make that one any more special than any of the other ones. It just means that that human being is using their free will to grow, so that we have two people with a growth mindset, and that we, are able to work toward the North Node connection. Could there be another one? Absolutely. It's kind of like, one goes and another one comes in. Not right after that, but usually we see them spread out and connected to different pivotal points. Again, you guys can book a life contract with me at any time. But during your pivotal points, which would also show up in numerology or Western or Vedic astrology, you can see points where you have opportunities to level up in your life. Right before this pivotal year hits, everybody gets about 6 of them through the course of your life. That's it. You get 6 big opportunities to level up your entire life. So you have, when one of these pivotal years hit, 2 years to build and 2 years of detox, which means everything and everyone gets wiped out of your life that is holding you back from growth. Now, during those 2 years of detox, we often see children being born and new soulmates enter, death of loved ones, things like this. So somebody divorces. So somebody could leave and another one could enter. That's very common to see. Yeah. So detox years aren't bad in any way, but they are hard. And we could see soulmates coming in around that time, replacing one that left at any time.
This one is from Stina.
Okay.
It says, can someone be pulling on your cord even if they are the ones that cut off contact? Subconsciously, maybe?
They didn't cut off contact. Okay, so this is when someone says, oh, I'm going to go no contact or I'm going to cord cut, but they really still want to be able to manipulate that person. They're still obsessive over that person. If somebody cut off contact with you, but they're energetically tugging and pulling on you all the time, one of the things that you would notice is that you randomly, spontaneously think of them. They keep just popping into your head. They keep popping into your dreams. They keep coming up somehow. And you didn't instigate that. This couldn't have been further from your mind. If it's happening, there is an energetic pull. And people having no contact, doesn't necessarily mean they have no energetic contact. Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. Hi, Mama. Okay, come.
She wants in. This one is from Jarlin.
Jarlin?
Said, I have a connection with someone. We cannot be together because of what the situation is.
Okay.
Or can I and let it ride up?
Well, you need to book a reading. I mean, that's a whole different show. Could you? Sure. You can do whatever you want. You have free will. However, I do think it's really important for everybody in every relationship with all of humankind to come at everything with 2 different things. Are you coming with an ethical approach? Are you doing what is truthful and honest? Because otherwise you're going to get karmic kickback from the universe. So is it moral to do? And the second thing is, are you coming at this decision from a place of love and faith and positivity? Or are you doing it from fear and ego and control? Okay. We have a class up here called Fear versus Love that you might want to check out. If you can answer both of those questions purely and say, it's good. I'm good. I'm not hurting anyone. This is good for me. This is the sincere, honest thing. There's no reason. And I'm not coming from fear or ego. I am coming from love and faith and I'm open. Then there's no harm in doing that. If not, no. And if they are coming from a toxic place, if they're not being ethical, that is not a soulmate. Like anyone who cheats, this is another big thing, is that, and I'm not saying that's part of your question, Jarlin, but a lot of people want to do their spouse dirty and get together with someone else on the side and be like, well, that's my twin flame. No, you have no ethical code of conduct and karma is coming for you. Bad news. That's sociopathic behavior to hurt people. to be able to go off, run off with someone else and call it love. Okay. Absolutely not. But that's a different show.
This one is from Megan.
Okay.
Do you understand each other's north nodes? What aspect can lead to a relationship not working?
Oh, all kinds of things. Personality flaws, lack of character development, integrity goes down the toilet. Someone had a growth mentality and then they stopped. Fear, ego, trauma that's not handled properly. Someone who needs to go maybe to therapy and work some stuff out and they won't, not doing shadow work. There are a million things that could happen that could take any relationship, any human being at any time, including you, including me, any of us, even those of us that are mindful, and just allow us to go sour. We just go dark. We just choose not to do what we should be doing for growth. And that's why mindfulness is so important. North Node is not enough. You know, we could have all the money in the world and, 6 mansions and a beach and a yacht and be set and bowls of fruit and fresh flowers everywhere and still be miserable, still choose wrong, still not have, an attitude of gratitude. Without that growth mentality, everything is doomed. So it's just not enough to have a good setup in a destiny charted way. Free will dictates all. Yeah.
This is from Julia.
Okay.
What is a relationship with someone where you never end up together, but have a constant passion for the person, and it feels like no time has passed even after not seeing each other for years?
It could be a soulmate connection, and it could be one of these awkward ones. Like maybe you met up with this person when you were a kid and then things go in different directions. You're never going to get back together again, or, a million, they pass away. I mean, a million things could happen. And often this is almost what psychologists talk about when they look at, I think of those that are elderly or are in the death process. They talk about these relationships from when they were young, or people they've met over the course of their life, or anyone who was impactful to them. They remember these things and they talk about these things and the nature of the relationship. And what we do in these bonds is we take so much from that relationship, even if it was brief or it was a long time ago, and we continue to feed off of it our entire life. So you could forever tap back into that good nature and what it does for you energetically. Maybe that person was just there to show you what you deserve, or make you feel good about yourself, or show you what's pure in the world. And it helps you to raise your energy, your vibration. Look at each relationship that you have and figure out what that relationship is teaching you. What are the positives and what are the negatives? And it will continue. So we never stop learning from our relationships. Apparently, even on our deathbed and way into old age, we do remember these things and talk about these things. Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. So you guys, it was such a pleasure doing this one with you. What's our next one?
That is on the 8th, Mythbusting, light work, and
the 8th of April, 8 p.m. Eastern, here on TikTok, here on YouTube. My next free mini class is Mythbusting in Lightwork and the Spiritual World. Okay, what is going on with all this nonsense that we get told, and why are things not working? Probably because you have been programmed to believe in some myths. Thank you, Polly. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks again for the donations. If you want to join and become a member, here on YouTube, you can hit that join button. See you guys soon.